Right. Okay, so if we can avoid making noise during this, that'd help. All right. Okay. Welcome back to Native Speaker. Okay, we're going to look at English for interviews now, and a number of the phrases that we'll use. Balancing positivity, confidence and modesty when speaking about yourself. So this can be a challenge for students. Here we have a modesty phrase, like an intro phrase, a subject and a verb phrase, and we use the phrase, I like to think of myself as being. Everybody, I like to think of myself as being. I feel I have. I think I have. I feel I can. I like to think I am. I consider myself as having. So you can use anything from these sections and use them here. Sometimes you might have to use the verb be, and sometimes you might have to use the verb have, so you should be careful about that. I like to think of myself as being a team player. Everybody? I feel I have significant experience in the area of. And then you can just put in the area of whatever it is, mechatronics, catering, nursing, etc. I think I have good attention to detail. I feel I can work on my own as well as part of a team. I like to think I am a people person. I consider myself as having strong interpersonal skills. Now that's just an introduction, and you'll have to develop this and tell them how. How have you got these skills? So these phrases, in the sense that, in that, and in so far as, these answer the question how. So I like to think of myself as being a team player, in the sense that I tend to get on really well with my colleagues. Okay? I tend to. What does I tend to mean? Often. I often or usually get on with really well with my colleagues. Okay? I feel I have significant experience in the area of blah blah, in that I have worked in this field for over 20 years in a number of positions. How do we pronounce this word? Positions. That's right. This word is pronounced positions. Okay. I think I have good attention to detail insofar as I have been responsible for dealing with the company accounts. So if you're dealing with the company accounts, then you have to have good attention to detail. That means you can spot mistakes easily. I feel I can work on my own as well as a part of a team. For example, in my last position, I was given sole responsibility of handling all sales teams in the UK. So I was given. Again, this passive voice here is a suggestion that somebody else trusted you to do this. What does sole mean? All, total, only. So I was given sole responsibility of handling all teams in the UK. Okay? I like to think I am a people person. For instance, I was tasked with the role of. Can we repeat that, please? I was tasked with the role of. I was tasked with the role of student counsellor in my last position in ABC. Good. And then if you just wanted to say in a cover letter, for example, I consider myself as having strong interpersonal skills. Everybody. Good. Strong interpersonal skills. Good. So this is a more formal version of this one here. So this is just one example of how you could build a considerable sentence where you're speaking confidently and positively about yourself, but also with some modesty. And that's a challenge, that sometimes to balance speaking modestly and then also confidently and positively about yourself, that you don't want to look arrogant. Okay. In the next one now, we're going to look at how we say that people asked us to do something. Here we're starting this with a passive structure, I was given. Because in a job interview, mostly you're going to be talking about yourself, and we're going to say I was. But if you're talking about a team, then it's we were. Okay, so we were given the responsibility of, and then if you use a verb ing phrase here, you could either use a verb ing with some of these or a noun phrase with some of these. I was given the responsibility of setting up, establishing, and how do we pronounce this word? Initiating. Okay, so setting up, establishing, and initiating. These are three verbs that mean start something. Okay, so I was given the responsibility of setting up. Everybody. I was given the responsibility of establishing. I was given the responsibility of initiating. I was given the responsibility of establishing an IT review of my department in the University of. So sometimes universities will use, if the name of the university comes second after university, then it's the University of. Okay, but if the name of the university came first, like Cambridge University, no the, no of. I was asked to undertake the task of. Everybody. Now these here are fixing verbs, so I was asked to undertake the task of dealing with. Everybody, I was asked to undertake the task of. I was asked to undertake the task of. Good. I was asked to undertake the task of dealing with. I was asked to undertake the task of handling. I was asked to undertake the task of addressing. What does issue mean? Problem. Why would I use issue instead of problem? Say again. It's more issues. Well, no, not necessarily smaller. No, that's not an answer to it. Why would people use issues instead of? No, it's not that it's more formal. Less negative. Okay, so if you're in a job interview, you might want to look to be a positive person. The word problem suggests some sort of, it's a very negative word. But if you say issue, an issue could be something we talk about, like a subject or a topic, and then it can also be something that had difficulty. So this word is incredibly popular at certain levels of speech, like if you're working in a university, if you're working in a company, but definitely if you're in a job interview. If you're in a job interview, you want always to choose a more positive sounding word, because you look more energetic, you don't look as negative, and you look more positive. So I was asked to undertake the task of dealing with issues. Everybody. Now, if you want to say what kind of issues, you could say issues relating to. Everybody? So you could issues relating to sales and marketing. Sales and marketing. Okay, so I was asked to undertake the task of handling issues relating to. Okay, let's go individually. Amjad. Very good. We'll take Dara. Lovely. Okay. Now we'll change handling to dealing with. Sarah, you'll go with dealing with. Very good. Chenen, you'll go with addressing. No, not in issues, addressing issues. Good. So do the first part again. No, no, the task of. Issues. Just like the things you blow your nose with. Tissues. Issues. Okay. Issues, everybody. Okay. Good. So relating to is a very good, a very useful member of the about family that we don't always use and isn't on our original list, but is excellent here in this context. I was tasked with the job of. Everybody? I was tasked with the job of. I was tasked with the job of showcasing. Now, here you don't showcase awareness of, you raise awareness of. So, just to be clear, this is raising awareness of. These two are the partnership. This isn't a partner to this word. But you could say showcasing what? Well, showcasing Chinese business, showcasing Omani culture, showcasing Spanish art, or showcasing Spanish cuisine. Okay, that could be used with showcasing. What does showcasing mean? Showing it to people and saying, look, isn't this wonderful? Did you know about this? So you'd showcase. So that's why we'd have exhibitions. Exhibitions showcasing young talent. Okay, so X Factor is a TV program showcasing young musical talent. All right. So I was tasked with the job of. Now here I was offered the position of, this will only partner with the name of a job. So I was offered the position of regional sales director. I was offered the position of university bursar. I was offered the position of EU director. I was offered the position of senior instructor. I was offered the position of. I was offered the position of. Everybody. I was offered the position of. Position. Position. I was offered the position of. I was offered the position of. Good. Position. No. Position. Okay. So the first one is like fizz, like his. This is his jacket. His, position. Okay, say his. Not piss. Piz. No, no. It's a Z sound at the end. That's piss. We need piz. You need. Okay. Position. Try again. That's better. Again. But it's not piz. It's piz. Position. That's better. That's much better. Position. Now say it faster. Position. The position of. That's better. Better than before. Okay? So I was offered the position of. Everybody? So when you talk about, the sequence of your life and the sequence of your career, sometimes you'll say, I got this job. So you'll say, I was offered the position of. Now, as one of the students said earlier, it doesn't mean that they really offered it to you. You may have begged to get that job. You may have gone down on your knees and cried to get that job. But eventually they said, okay, you can have the job. So then you were offered the position of. This makes it sound like a very positive thing, that they came and looked for you. Now, your employer, or the person in the interview, knows that that's not really true. Okay? But they don't think you're lying. They're admiring the way you have got dressed. Okay? So we know you're naked under your clothes, but when we see you wearing nice clothes, we say, my goodness, you look well. Now, yeah, but I'm naked underneath these. I know, but that doesn't matter. We know that you've put on clothes and they look very well on you. So this will look impressive to employers because they say you know how to dress up the scenario. And if you can dress it up for yourself, you can dress it up for your future employer. And that's very, very important to know. They're looking for you to showcase yourself. If you're trying to get on a football team and you can do 100 keepy uppies, that's telling the trainer of the football team that you have a skill to offer that team, not look at me, I'm amazing. Okay, so at all times you're trying to show the interviewer that you can use language in an elegant way for yourself, so therefore you could also use it in an elegant way for your employer. So if there was a problem in the restaurant, if there was a problem if there was a problem at the university, if there was a problem in the hill walking company, you could speak clearly and elegantly to the customers or the students or the clients. So I was offered the position of regional sales director. And here I skipped the two columns. I said in IT Tralee. I was recruited by, and then say the name of the company. I was recruited. I was recruited. Recruited, recruited, recruited. I was recruited. So that's what HR, well, it doesn't actually stand for HR, sorry. That's what we use sometimes in the army, but now we use that for hiring people. It's the formal version of hire. Okay, so I was recruited by, and then you'll give the name of the company. I was recruited by. So let's say you work for a company called ABC Technology. I was recruited by ABC Technology. Why? With the aim of, and after with the aim of, you must use verb ing. Okay, so resolving. Resolving is a word that means fix. Okay, it's a word that means fix. So I was recruited by ABC Technology with the aim of resolving. Everybody? So let's go back here and let's clear it for you. Good. And resolving, and then some sort of issues. So you could say resolving issues relating to, and you could say IT, or resolving issues relating to staff problems, or resolving issues relating to sales and marketing. Okay, so this means fixing, and this doesn't mean trying to fix. This means fix. Okay, solve and resolve are almost the same meaning. Okay, almost the same meaning. These deal with, handle, and address. They don't guarantee that you fixed it. They guarantee that you tried to fix it. So does it mean you didn't fix it? No, it doesn't mean that. We're not sure whether you fixed it or not. Okay, but you definitely tried. Sometimes fixing verbs are about changing the level. So it could be increasing or reducing. I was given the task of reducing. Everybody? Reducing. So reducing here is a partner for congestion. I was given the task of reducing congestion in the university car park. Okay, so you might be a student and they said, well, you are studying engineering or you're studying mechatronics, and then they said we have a terrible problem with congestion in the university car park in the mornings. How would you use mechatronics to help us solve that problem? Okay, so I was given the task of reducing congestion in the university car park. Now running isn't connected to congestion. Running, we said yesterday, means what? Good. What are the 4 forms of run? Good. So run, ran, run, running. Don't get that wrong. It's very simple, but often students do get it wrong. So it's run, ran, run, begin, began, begun. Okay, so I was given the task of running. What would you run? Well, for example, if you had an outdoor pursuit centre, that's what you describe in your job, Jordy. I was given the task of running the centre. That means they made me manager. Okay, I was given the task of running. So to run a centre means to manage and be responsible for the countries, the centre. For example, a prime minister has to run the country. Okay, so I was given the task of running. So run, ran, run talks about being the manager, being the person responsible for something, directing something, and it could be run a shop or run a country. Okay. I was entrusted with, everybody. So we saw N before when we were talking about ensure, that's right, enrage, entrust. Okay. So entrust means they trusted you with something. So I was entrusted with the task of. Now, that's a great word to use in here at some stage in your cover letter or your CV. I was entrusted with the task of. Now, this is saying in an indirect way that they trusted me. Okay? And even saying the word entrust is a positive thing to see on the cover letter. And even if you're very cynical, the fact that you're using this elegant way of talking about it is a credit to you. In the interview, the boss might challenge this and say, tell me how you were entrusted with that. You say you were entrusted in your cover letter. So a good interview will check what you've said in your cover letter and your CV. So if you say I have an expert knowledge of English grammar, well, when you get to the interview, you better have an expert knowledge. So you better be very careful what you say in the cover letter, because some employers don't enjoy having people who say they're amazing and are then not amazing. So be very careful about how you sell yourself. Sell yourself in a practical way that you can deliver on. But don't write checks that you can't cash. Okay? So don't say stuff that you can't deliver. Alright? So for example, if you say I can climb any mountain on the world, then they'll say, really, what mountains have you climbed? Well, none so far. And they'll go, okay, well, look, your judgment at saying that is poor. It's not the fact that it's untrue. It's the fact that you would be so silly to say something like that. Now, do you know where this often happens? In CVs and cover letters. This often happens when people speak about their level in a language. Okay? I have seen people say that they have intermediate level French, when in fact all they can say is bonjour, monsieur. Okay? They can't even pronounce it properly. And then when they get to the interview, if that's checked in the interview, it's a complete disaster. You know? It's a total disaster. So sometimes people will say things, and they might not just say it in a job interview, they might say it at work. And then when they have to deliver on it, they look like idiots. And I'll show you 2 videos in a moment about that. So I was entrusted with the task of tackling. So tackling is another one of dealing with, handling and addressing. Has anybody any idea how tackling is slightly different from these 3? Slightly different. Yeah. Yes, but that's all of these 3. That's what these 3 do as well. I'll give you a hint. Where did we say this comes from originally? What? No, that's hurdle you're thinking of. But you're definitely in the realm of sport. Yes, somewhere in sport. Football, rugby. Okay, so what is a tackle in football? Is it very gentle? No. It's rather aggressive, positive, assertive, energetic. And that's what tackling is. Tackling is an energetic attempt to fix a problem. Okay? So that's an energetic attempt to fix a problem. So I was entrusted with the task of tackling. So dealing with, handling, addressing and tackling are all synonyms, But tackling is is a verb that suggests that I really energetically attacked this problem. Okay, so tackling this problem. Now it's very similar to this, and if you had used these three, don't be afraid to use this one. Okay, but it's good for your job because maybe there was a big problem or a consistent problem in your old company, and your boss was like, how will we ever fix this issue? How can we fix this issue? And you said, I can fix this issue. And you went in and somehow gave this situation energy, and then you fixed the problem, or you tried to fix the problem. So for example, let's say that your bookings were a mess, that they're just pieces of paper with numbers written everywhere, and you said, well, I use Google Docs and I created an application form, and now all of our applications come in online and we don't have to misspell names on the telephone or get anything wrong. The customer writes it all themselves. So I was entrusted with the task of tackling, and you'd say, for example, issues, and here I'll go back to relating to, and I'll delete that there, issues relating to what? Booking. Okay. So I was entrusted with the task of tackling issues relating to bookings. Okay. And that's a very positive way to talk about it. Don't talk about problems, because, now I'm not saying never use the word problem, but remember that problem is a very negative word, and issues means that you're a calm person, and when a problem comes along you say, it's okay, I'll handle it, it's a minor issue. Okay. What were the three sisters I mentioned yesterday? Yeah, so we said significant, misspelled significant, so let's zoom in on that. So significant, substantial, considerable, yeah, don't forget it's sid is the considerable, and then what would we have here? Well, what we'll do is split this one in two and say considerable issues, and then we'll steal this guy here, we'll just relating to. Okay, what's another word for issues? Difficulties. Okay, so I'll just reduce that in size there so we can see those clearly. So we can say considerable difficulties or considerable issues relating to. Now, somebody might say, yeah, but now you're just saying they're big problems again. Sure, but you're saying it in a positive way. Okay, you're saying it in a positive way. Significant, substantial, considerable issues or difficulties. But don't say big problems. That's just not what you want to be doing. Okay, so it could be significant, substantial, or considerable issues or difficulties. About what? Relating to. And then, for example, we might say client retention. Any idea what client retention means? Does it remind you of any verb? What does retain mean? That's correct. Please retain your receipt would be written on lots of receipts. If you buy something in Curry's, maybe a Bluetooth headset, and you buy it, and then on the receipt it says, please retain this receipt, because if you have a problem and you lose the receipt, they'll say, well, I'm sorry, we can't help you if you don't have the receipt. So keep. So client retention means, well, yes, we know that, customers, but what does retention mean? Keeping customers. Okay, so if a company, it costs a company a lot of money to find customers. Okay, and client retention is keeping those customers. So for example, if your customers leave, then you have to go out looking for new customers. But if you keep the same customers all the time, then that's better. Now obviously we don't always have all of our customers forever and ever and ever, but the longer the better. So client retention is an issue that lots of companies face, and they want to keep those customers. Okay, so for example, if a university has students, they want them for first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and then maybe a master's program. They want them for as long as possible. If you have a restaurant, you want your customers to come Friday, and then maybe come next Friday, and then maybe next Friday, and then maybe next Friday, and then tell their friends. Okay, what do they call it in business when they what do they call it in business when people tell their friends about you? Word of mouth. So word of mouth is an adjective. So you might say they are word of mouth clients. Okay, so that's the best kind of client to get because it costs you nothing. Another client got you that client. Okay, but clients are expensive to find because you have to advertise, you have to go out and pay other people to get you those clients. So sometimes that's an expensive business. But if you have a Chinese restaurant and you have really good food and people say, oh, do you know what's a brilliant Chinese? That place on Main Street. Oh, the Golden Rose. Oh, it's unbelievable. Okay, now that's word of mouth. Okay, what do you call it in Spanish? And say it in Spanish? Boca boca. Fantastic. I love that sound. Easy to remember, isn't it? Poca or boca? Boca. Boca boca. Fantastic. Fantastic. Mouth to mouth. Now, we have an idiom in English called mouth to mouth, and that means something completely different. What do you think mouth to mouth means? Not exactly, but it looks like that. It's no. Good logic, but no. Try again. I'll give you a hint. Medical. That's right, to revive people. So if somebody is in the water and you hold their nose and you go and you go like that, that's mouth to mouth. Is it also okay? Okay. So be careful in English. Mouth to mouth is only medical resuscitation. Okay. Good. Good. So we often use this as an adjective. There's nothing better than mouth-to-mouth advertising. Oh, sorry, word of sorry. Now I'm getting confused. Word of mouth advertising. Word of mouth advertising. So word of mouth means this advertising. Mouth to mouth. Maybe I'll just pull that over here for a second. I'll put it in this box because we're on screen. Mouth to mouth refers to. I'll just put it in here. Mouth to mouth refers to resuscitation.
Can we say the best advertising is word to mouth?
Word of mouth.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, that's correct. So the best to resuscitate is when you bring somebody back from unconsciousness to resuscitate. Okay. And mouth to mouth is where you put your mouth on top of another person's mouth and you try and bring them back, especially after drowning if they're in water. So that's mouth to mouth resuscitation. But word of mouth is word of mouth, and word of mouth is nearly always positive. It's very rarely negative. It's usually word of mouth. So for example, you might say something like word of mouth advertising. So I'll take that out of there so we're not confused by that, and we'll say word of mouth advertising. Or word of mouth referrals. So word of mouth referral. And sometimes people say, how did your business do so well? Oh, word of mouth. And how do we compress of mouth? Word of mouth. And then guess what? Then treat it like one word. Word of mouth. Word of mouth. So if somebody says, how did your restaurant become so popular? And you say, well, word of mouth. And you just say word of mouth, full stop. It's like one sentence. Word of mouth. Yeah, put your tongue between your teeth. Yeah. Otherwise, it's word of mouse, which is not what you want to say about a restaurant because it sounds like you have a mouse in your restaurant. So be careful about that. So it's word of mouth. Yeah, word of mouth. So when you say word of mouth, when we compress it in actual speaking, it sounds like one word, word of mouth. So if somebody said to you, how did your cafe get so popular? And you could say, word of mouth. And like that, it would be just one answer. Now I'll go back to the full version now. Word of mouth. No, it means that one person came in, really liked our coffee, and then told another person. And those two people told another two people, and those four people told another four people, and those 8 people told another 8 people. And then they all started telling 2 people each, and then those 16 told 64. And so on. Okay? So it's word of mouth. And if you were to check word of mouth, remember, if you're ever looking at something like that and you want a quick definition of it, just go to Google Images and you're going to see all of these there as idioms, and then it's word of mouth. You see all of this word of mouth. So word of mouth marketing. And then you'll see them here as word of mouth. Okay, so we might steal that guy and bring him over here to word of mouth. We'll put those in our notes. Okay, you guys go. I know that you have to be out of here. So that's word of mouth. And we'll take these over from here. So there you see on the screen, how did your cafe get so popular? Word of mouth. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye, Sarah. Take care. Mind yourself. See you, Abdurrahman. Mind yourself. Okay. So that's word of mouth, where everybody tells everybody else about your product, and you don't have to spend money on advertising or marketing then because everybody's talking about it. Okay? And that's word of mouth. Okay. So mouth to mouth resuscitation, we'll take that one over there and put it into our notes. And what we might do here is we'll put that in there, mouth to mouth, and we'll get that kind of resuscitation there as well. So that's mouth to mouth. Okay. So they're quite similar, but that's mouth to mouth. Don't confuse word of and mouth to, because you might say mouth of mouth, and then you'll get it, or word to mouth, and people get that confused. And in the test, that's exactly what I'll do. I'll put in confused versions to see if you remember them. Not as a verb. This is how we say it. Give him mouth to mouth. I gave him mouth to mouth. And it has no other meaning. There's no funny meaning. There's no sexual meaning. There's nothing. It's only got that one there. Like, in case you'd ever be worried, would it be, would it ever be misunderstood? No, it's only this thing of where somebody is about to die. Okay.
Can it be used to do?
Do mouth to mouth. A good question. Maybe, but not generally. No, it's you gave somebody mouth to mouth. Yeah, yeah, give somebody mouth to mouth. But I couldn't guarantee you that you wouldn't see do mouth to mouth. That rings a bell certainly. But if you're talking about another person, so if in first aid or health and safety, which is a big part of your job, you'd have to know first aid. Then you say, well, we gave him mouth to mouth, or don't give him mouth to mouth. It's not. That's not going to help. Do something else. Okay. By the way, just when we're on those things, you never know when you'll need these, but this is a common word now. Is a defib. Okay. And you'll see these around Ireland in various places. There's probably one here somewhere on campus, I would imagine. And it's if somebody's getting a heart attack, you go here, you open the door, and you bring it out, and you go boom, and put it on the chest of the person. And if somebody's having a heart attack, you might be able to save them. Okay? And that's called a defib. All right?
Yeah, it's about this. But the other thing that you have to do, and it's more important than the mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
You have to
Yes. Well, yes, cardio massage. Okay. So this is cardio massage. Now, I think they call it decompressions as well. I'm not sure. Cardio massage. Yes, there we go. So we cardio massage there as well. And you'd also say, I gave him cardio massage. Not a cardio massage, but cardio massage. Okay, just in case that ever came up, and here you could say I used a defib. Now people call it a defib all the time. Okay, if you see that, that's common in Ireland now, and it's a defibrillator. Do you have those in Oman? Are they popular in public places now? Okay, well, that's only a new thing here in Ireland, I have to say. It was that a lot of people died in heart attacks and nobody could have saved them. And people who worked in medicine said, you know what? Defibrillators are not hard to use. A member of the public could put them on. If you just write the instructions clearly, you could save your mom or dad or your grandma or your granddad if you had a defib.
in Spain we have
Everywhere.
not everywhere, but in other places.
Yeah, they're commonly used.
Machine talk to you and explain
Ah,
all the time what do you have to do.
right.
So
Probably the same here.
first
Yeah.
put this there and wait
Yeah.
2 seconds, and later when the I don't know the red light is
Flashing.
on, press there, and
Yeah.
it's very. I think that it's easy.
Yeah, I was talking to we had to buy a drone one summer, and drone defib, and these drones that go up into the sky, they now have them equipped with a defibrillator. So if somebody has a heart attack up on the mountain, we don't have a helicopter to get up there. The guys down on the ground would take maybe 3 hours to get up there, but they can fly the drone there in 10 minutes. And the drone has a defib on it. So the drone lands beside the person, and you just take the defib out of the cover, and you put it on, and you keep it connected to the battery of the drone, and the drone will work the defibrillator. It's amazing. It's used in mountain rescue a lot. And they can fly it directly to you. So if you take out your mobile phone and give them your coordinates on your phone, they'll say, take out your mobile phone, go to compass, and then they'll say, read those things. They can land it right beside you. And they say, stay on the phone. Where are you? Are you beside the fish? No, we're to the left of the fish. Okay, hang on. And they have a camera on the drone. They land the drone right beside you. Now they say, open the top of the drone. You open the top of the drone. Put them on your father's chest. Put them on your father's chest. And then you get this. So it's pretty amazing, really. It's wonderful technology, and that's what they're using drones for today. So they could have that. They could have 3 of those in the back of a van, and the mountain rescue people use these all the time to rescue somebody. And sometimes, as you can see here, they can drop a defib on a parachute down to the person as well. But very often now what they do is they just land the drone beside you. You open the lid of the drone, and you open the lid of the drone, and they can bring first aid or anything like that to the person. It's a great new technique, really. It's amazing what they can do. They're really amazing. Have you ever seen the TED Talk drone thing? And this is quite old now. This TED Talk drones is about this guy here. Now this is 2013, so that's what, 6 years ago. Imagine how more advanced they are now. But in this TED Talk, they show how to do this. So basically, he's talking about the mathematics for the drones, but what he can make the drones do.
Cameras on the ceiling in a laptop serve as an indoor global positioning system. It's used to locate objects in the space that have these reflective markers on them. This data is then sent to another laptop that is running estimation and control algorithms, which in turn sends commands to the quad, which is also running estimation and control algorithms. The bulk of our research is algorithms. It's the magic that brings these machines to life. So how does one design the algorithms that create a machine athlete? We use something broadly called model-based design. We first capture the physics with a mathematical model of how the machine...
Now, I'll jump forward and I'll show you.
That carries the quad from its current state to the impact point with the ball. Fourth, we only execute 20 milliseconds worth of that strategy. 20 milliseconds later, the whole...
So he can get the drones to play ball.
This knowledge allows us to design novel machine architectures or to design clever algorithms that gracefully handle damage, just like human athletes do, instead of building machines with redundancy. We can't help but hold our breath when we watch a diver somersaulting into the water, or when a vaulter is twisting in the air, the ground fast approaching. Will the diver be able to pull off a reentry? Will the vaulter stick the landing? Suppose we want the squad here to perform a triple flip and finish off at the exact same spot that it started. This maneuver is going to happen so quickly that we can't use position feedback to correct the motion during execution. There simply isn't enough time. Instead, what the quad can do is perform the maneuver blindly, observe how it finishes the maneuver, and then use that information to modify its behavior so that the next flip is better. Similar to the diver and the vaulter, it is only through repeated practice that the maneuver can be learned and executed to the highest standard. Striking a moving ball is a necessary skill in many sports. How do we make a machine do what an athlete does seemingly without effort?
So the drone can hit the ball back to him automatically. Nobody's flying the drone.
This quad has a racket strapped onto its head with a sweet spot roughly the size of an apple, so not too large. The following calculations are made every 20 milliseconds or 50 times per second. We first figure out where the ball is going. We then next calculate how the quad should hit the ball so that it flies to where it was thrown from. Third, a trajectory is planned that carries the quad from its current state to the impact point with the ball. Fourth, we only execute 20 milliseconds worth of that strategy. 20 milliseconds later, the whole process is repeated until the quad strikes the ball. perform dynamic maneuvers on their own, they can do it collectively. These three quads are cooperatively carrying a Skynet.
So you can see that it's pretty impressive, you know.
Perform an extremely dynamic and collective maneuver to launch the ball back to me. Notice that at full extension, these quads are vertical. In fact, when fully extended, this is roughly 5 times greater than what a bungee jumper feels at the end of their launch. The algorithms to do this are very similar to what the single quad used to hit the ball back to me. Mathematical models are used to continuously replan a cooperative strategy 50 times per second.
So you can see there that's how they can use these drones to do various things. But it's really cool, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. And that was in 2013. That was 6 years ago. Can you imagine how that's all moved on since then, you know? Yeah, so it's amazing what drones can do. Not mine though, I managed to crash mine on the first day, so obviously. Anyway, so let's get back to this. So you can use those, give them a defib, mouth to mouth, word of mouth. And word of mouth there was, we were talking about that in our table. So I can delete those now when we get around to this. So resolving significant issues or difficulties relating to. So you pick one of these, one of these. What word in this grouping means small? We said there's a little brother. Minor, good. Be careful, Spanish speakers, that you don't say minor. Okay, that's a common mistake by our Spanish cousins. And then we have major, good, major. All right. So you can have minor issues, significant issues, substantial issues, considerable issues, or major issues, major difficulties. Okay? So don't start using small problems, big problems. Take one from this group and then one of these as well as kind of thing. What's another good word to use here that's positive? Challenge. Yes, challenge. So you can say we had minor challenges. Okay? You can say we had minor challenges, or we faced minor challenges. We came up against minor challenges. So issues, challenges, and what's the word that Abdul Rahman mentioned from the Olympics? Hurdles, very good. So hurdles. So minor issues, significant challenges, substantial hurdles, considerable hurdles. Okay? These are all used in that way. Okay. So I was recruited by ABC with the aim of resolving minor issues relating to, and then whatever problem you had. Okay, you can put it up there. So what is client retention? Keeping clients. Retain is the verb that means keep. Retention is the noun of, I think. What do you think water retention is? Keeping water, but in your body, fluid retention means that sometimes when you eat, you feel a bit like myself, you feel a bit fat, and sometimes it isn't always fat that's the problem, is that there's fluid in your body and that you're retaining this fluid. So you might have it in your tummy, you might have it maybe in your joints or something like that. So that's retention. Now, the new one that I wanted to look at today was this one. If you're talking about something you did in the past, you might have to say more about it. Okay? And the great news here is, lovely start to the sentence, you'll just say this. Why this? Well, you talked about it a moment ago, so now you're talking about this. And we're going to use the word involved. Now, Spanish students particularly have problems with this because they'll say involved. And it's not involved, it's involved. We say Volvo, though Spanish people say Balbo, okay? You know, the car company, Okay, we say Volvo, but sometimes Spanish students will say Volvo. Okay, because their V is like our B. Okay, so this involved, everybody. This entailed. This required. This entailed. This demanded. Now I have to tell you that my favorite two is this involved, this entailed. They're the top two. Okay, this demanded, I'd say that's number 3. But these are the top two, involved or entailed. Though this involved and then verb ing the whole way. Okay. Now, could I skip the verb? Yeah, you could. You could. So this involved coordinating everything. Everybody? This involved coordinating. This entailed organizing. This required providing. This entailed selling. This demanded utilizing. This involved offering. Oh, and look here, monkey teacher. This, what's missing here? This required. Okay, so this required purchasing. So this required purchasing new software. Okay, so this required purchasing. Now, let's finish off some of these sentences. So this involved coordinating teams. Now, what phrase can we use that means two? It's the two family. And we had it before. Good. Very good. With the aim of. Now, if you use the aim of, what verb form will go here? Verb ing. So, with the aim of improving. And I'll put improving in here. We'll take this ing over here and we'll just dress it up a little bit. So with the aim of improving. So this involved coordinating teams with the aim of improving, and I don't have much room here, so I'll say sales. Okay. So this involved coordinating teams with the aim of improving sales. Okay. This entailed organizing training courses. Now, if I don't want to repeat with the aim of, well, I can say with a no. Correct. With a view to. Everybody? With a view to. With a view to. So here, with a view to, and maybe I want to make something smaller, so I'll say reducing. Okay. Could use that as well. Good. With the review to now. The word I'm thinking of is... No, you don't want to reduce marketing. Maybe I can bring it over like this. With a review to reducing... And here, okay, costs, lovely. That's even, I was going to say absenteeism. That's a big bloody long word, so I'd be in trouble there. So this entailed organizing training courses with a view to reducing costs. Yeah, it's always an S there for that, costs, if you're speaking in general like that. Yes? Okay, now these guys here are from what we call link word families, okay? And link families are words that are connect one thing to the other. So for example, because, okay? Everybody uses because. But as is a very high value version of because. Or, for example, give me a sec now. Or for example, if you take about's a very basic word. What one did we see this morning from about? We practiced it a lot. We did, but we practiced another one there's no room for. So give me a sentence with complacency, Jordy. I told you I'd be back later. What did we say about that?
There's no room for complacency. Thank you, guys.
So, yeah, there's no room for complacency when it comes to. Okay, now, that's a member of the about family. Okay, now if my very slow computer will put this up, there we go. So the about family, have a look here at the screen, and you know what I'm going to do while I'm at this? I'm just going to print a copy for Jordi and Chenen, because you don't have this either, and I'd like you to have paper copies of this. So the link word families there. So we have the and family, we have the about family, the because family. Do you have a copy of this? Okay. You have the but family. Now, students like you constantly use and, but. Let me just run off 10 copies of this.
I don't have this. We don't have the
Okay, lovely.
We have a both. No.
Inta kadab. Why did you? Why? Do you have it?
No.
And I just asked you, do you have it?
About family.
The about family. Okay, well, we'll just print off the link word families for everybody now. Okay? And let me see. Hopefully that'll work now in a second. We'll see if that works. So students tend to overuse the simple versions like and, but, about, because, to, so, okay? And they don't use the higher value versions of them. So the to family, this isn't to and I go to Dublin. That's not what that means. If I say, why did you come to Ireland? I came to Ireland to improve my English, okay? Now, the higher value family of this is there are 2 boys in this family, and they use infinitive verb, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 girls. It's a big family. 6 girls in the family, and they use verb ing. And they have a cousin called so that, and that uses a noun plus a complement. Okay? So there are 3 different ways to do it. There's the way to do it with the boys, there's the way to do it with the girls, and this is their cousin that comes and stays with them quite a bit. Okay? So in order to infinitive verb. Now, we used with a view to and with the aim of. We used with a view to and with the aim of. So we said with the aim of and with the view to. Okay? Now, if we wanted to, we could also use this one. In order to. But if I use in order to, I have to use the infinitive verb here. Good. In order to. So this required providing our service online in order to, and here I'm going to use the infinitive verb broaden. What does broaden mean? Make it bigger. But it means broaden means make it wider really. But yes, increase would be a good definition of that. So this required providing our service online in order to broaden our customer base. So here we're trying to get more customers. So we said broaden our customer base. So if you work in the catering industry and you're in a Chinese restaurant, maybe you can serve 100 people in your restaurant at the same time. Okay? But if you sell food to go, if you sell food for collection or delivery, you could sell food to thousands of people if you do it that way. So you'll broaden your customer base. Okay? So you'd broaden your customer base there if you did that. Okay. Okay. So this entails selling cutting-edge software to top-end clients. What are there's this habit here of a second conversation going on in my room. Una duce, una voce. Okay? This means one leader, one voice. Okay? Think of me as Adolf Hitler, Donald Trump, Mussolini. I talk, you listen. Okay? All right. So this entails selling cutting edge software. What does cutting edge software mean? Cutting edge software.
Stop using.
No, cutting edge is a very popular adjective to talk about very advanced technology. New advanced technology. Okay? So cutting edge in anything is cutting edge techniques, cutting edge technology. This means the brand new, high quality, innovative, new technology. Okay? Cutting edge. Not always. No, it could be a technique in something, but it's very popular with technology. But it could be software, which is a type of technology. But it is very popular with that. But it could be a technique. It could be a new type of skill, maybe. But very popular with technology. No, the latest. Latest is what you're meaning. Yeah, the latest techniques. Yes, cutting edge and latest would be used. Yeah. So cutting edge is a very good adjective if you're working with some sort of technology. So for example, here in the IT, they teach mechatronics. And every year they're advancing that in some way. They're making it more and more advanced. And they're saying we're using cutting edge algorithms, cutting edge, okay? Because the cutting edge of a knife is the part that moves first. Okay, so if you take out a knife and you say, well, this is the blunt edge and this is the cutting edge, that's the part that goes through first. It's always at the front. Okay? So cutting edge is a very popular word, especially if you're talking about technology or materials. Materials as well. These are cutting edge materials. And here's a nice adjective, top end. What does top end mean? Top end clients.
The best.
Yes. These are the guys with the most money. They'll always spend on quality. They're top end clients. So they never argue about the price. They'll buy a lot. All you have to do is make sure it's good quality. And if that's the case, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay? If you find it easy to give quality, then it's no problem. You'll get top end clients. Okay? So cutting edge software. So this entailed selling cutting edge software to top end clients. And there you see that. Okay? So this involved, everybody? This entailed. This required. This entailed. This demanded. Okay. So this demanded. Okay. Now I have to say the top two that I'd give absolute credence at these two here. This involved, this entailed. Okay. But you know, if you're in a job interview, you might have to say this in a couple of different ways. So you don't want to have to repeat these two all the time. Okay? So this involved, this entailed, this demanded, this required. I'd make that the third one. Yeah, this required and then this demanded. Okay? I'm not very... I might even delete that one. I don't know. But this required would be my third one. But these two for sure are very good. These are the ones the native speakers will use all the time. Then if you're going to use a verb, easy peasy, just use verb ing. Okay? It's possible that you might skip the verb. You might say, this involved considerable effort. Okay? That might be what's involved there. But in generally speaking, we like to go for this involved, this entailed, verb ing, and now you can give more information. So if Jordy's in a Skype interview next week and somebody says, I was given the responsibility of setting up an IT review of my department, And they'll say, okay, really? This and he'll say, tell me more about that. And you go, well, this involved coordinating teams with the aim of improving sales. And now everybody's going, wow, this interview is so easy to understand, you know. Okay? So that's how you'd use it there, okay? And it's very, very simple. But the great news is, for a student who's looking at IELTS and not a job interview, you can use this and change it. You could talk about the future. You said this will involve. Hypothetical, this could involve. This would involve. Okay? And now you're saying, also I don't have to use it just in interviews. No, you can use this in essays. And guess what? Speaking sections in the IELTS exam. And now it's winner, winner, chicken dinner, because we can use it for everything. Job interviews in 5 years from now, and the IELTS exam next May, next April. And that's how you could use it. So, for example, if you say, do you ever have to help your parents with younger children? And he said, yeah, all the time. I mean, it involves cleaning my little sister when she goes to the bathroom. It involves getting them ready for bed, giving my little brother a bath. This involves. Okay? So this involves or this entails. Here, it's in the simple past. Why? Because we're talking about what happened in our last job. So if you're in a job interview, Constancio, and you're talking about what you did in your last job. So I was given the responsibility of setting up an IT review of my department in the University of Seville. And they say, oh really, tell me more about that. Well, this involved coordinating teams with the aim of improving sales. Now these sentences are well constructed. Why? Well, here we know what you did, and now we know why you did this, with the aim of, with a view to, in order to, okay? And then we know the verb. So the sentence is very complete, and the person who's listening to you is getting a very complete picture here. Very good question. These are very close cousins to the word contain. Contain is usually for physical things. So, for example, this medicine contains paracetamol and ibuprofen. Okay? But this involved talks about a technique or an action. So that's an excellent question, and we'll probably finish it on today's lesson on that one. What's the difference? So we have involve, entail, and we have contain. So what's the difference between involve, entail, and contain? So answer. Involve and entail refer to actions. Contain refers to things. This medicine contains paracetamol. So contain means it's inside a physical thing. But involve or entail refers to actions. Okay.
Tax.
No, a physical thing. Tax isn't a physical thing, it's an abstract thing.
No, the action or tax for involved.
Tasks.
Tax.
No. You're saying tax.
No.
You want to say tasks. Tasks.
Tax.
No.
Tax. No, tax. Tax.
X.
Tasks.
And you might need to practice that later by putting both hands up. Tasks.
Tax.
No. Hands up.
Tax.
Hands up. Task. Now plural. Tasks.
Tax.
No.
Tasks.
I know. But don't worry. The words like task and ask, for short, they're terribly short words, but they're a nightmare, especially for Spanish students, okay? So tasks.
Tasks.
You go from loser to winner, okay? Alright. So tasks, that's it. But it just takes a moment to do it slowly, properly, and then quickly, well, later on, okay?
Can we say I was involved or involved?
Involved. Remember, involve is what kind of noun? Is it voiced, voiceless, or soft ending? Involve. This has been recorded as well. That's the worst of this conversation. Do you know why I think it is? I think it's because we're recording it that it's taking up a lot of brain memory from the old printer. Maybe I have a funny feeling about that. I'll turn that off for a minute. So what were we saying there? We were saying that involve. So involve and entail refers to actions. So for example, my job entails dealing with members of staff who want to transfer to another division. Okay, my job entails. Alright, now you can just take out entails and put up involves. My job involves dealing with, and that's talking about your everyday actions with your job. Okay, but this medicine contains paracetamol means there is paracetamol inside. So it's a good question, Mohammed, that you brought up there. So that's good. Okay, this means there's paracetamol inside, and it's a physical thing. Okay, so this medicine contains paracetamol inside. Okay, so that's how here we can talk about how we think of ourselves. Okay, and here we can talk about tasks we were given. So somebody gave us a certain task, that was here. So I was given the responsibility of, I was asked to undertake the task of, I was tasked with the job of, I was offered the position of, I was recruited by blah 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 with the aim of doing this, and I was entrusted with the task of. Okay, the position of, the job of, the task of, the responsibility of, these are really popular, and you can see that verb ing is a very popular structure here. Okay, so that's how we'd use those. Then when you talk about what this involved, this would be the next step. After you say something like this, the interviewer is probably going to say something, really, tell me more about that. And then you'll say, this involved coordinating, this entailed organizing, this required providing. But these are in black. Why? They're my two favorites. Okay? They're my two favorites. All right. Demanded and required. Yeah. If you've used these two and you don't want to overuse them, go over to these two again. Okay, now we've added an extra 20 minutes there today. As I told you, on November 26th, I'll have to take the day off, and you won't have classes on that. I know you're very sad about that. Try not cry too much. But I'm just trying to get all of those filled in before we get to that date. So we've done 3 days of 20 extra minutes, so that's 3 20s. That's 1 hour already taken care of. Okay. Alrighty, so that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll come back now, and I'll expect you to be able to put these together. The last, how many minutes?